So Kristie's here from Vail, from our Vail
Hey,
office. I'm
everybody.
super happy to have you, lady. It's so nice of you to share and come and tell your story. And Kira had I kind of asked the managing directors who should come on board, and Kira had said, "You got to talk to Kristie. She's just energetic, enthusiastic about what she's doing, and really just a part of that team." So tell us how long you've been with us. What's your story in real estate? How you got started?
So I started last year. I think I came on in July.
Mhm.
It was postponed a few times because my test was postponed because of COVID and so on and so on. So my original thought I would take the test basically the weekend that we shut down and in March. So everything got pushed. But so yeah, so essentially a year and a half, maybe just under a year and a half.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Although
how
I
does
feel
that
like I really got my legs early this year.
Right. Well, and I was going to say challenging time to come into something that's brand new for you, and also with originally in that March date, some kind of openness that we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and part of that's I think, being courageous on your part, to step into something new during a period of major change. So, in that short amount of time, have you begun to understand what's unique for you in your business, in your resort market? Where do you stand out for yourself? What's important to you?
I think I'm still honestly trying to sort that out.
Mhm.
I feel like we live in two markets. There's the resort and the local market, and they ride opposite waves sometimes.
Mhm.
So it seems like this week I'm meeting people from Canada and from Mexico and from Boston and Chicago. And so people are coming in from all over. And then I just finished up with locals. So it seems like my locals have kind of settled in and they don't want to talk about anything for like a week unless something is really pressing on the market. But the resort buyers are in and that's all they want to do is talk about it. So I feel like I'm learning the legs of that. And people in the office have been super helpful, in kind of answering some of those questions because I'm like, wait a minute.
Mhm.
So
Well, and it is. I mean, in a resort market, which we have quite a few of in the company, you are oscillating between locals and resort market. And so your business model also takes on that challenge, I think, as you grow forward, is like, how do you talk to locals, to your point, what time of the year, and where do you do that on the other side with the people that are coming into town, especially when you have in Vail, you have a great following from Mexico City and Mexico in general. It's the knowledge of what those people are looking for that makes a difference. So awesome. And it's funny. I always ask managing directors what's unique, and I think for Kira it was that you seem to be the cold calling maven. So we haven't talked about that in depth with anyone. Tell me a little bit about what does that define for you? What are you achieving with that, and how is that working for you?
So cold calling is to me a little bit of a game. So
Mhm.
I focus on an area. I started last year with the building in Vail, doing all the research on it. I had done an open house for Jen Colson when I was new at one of her listings.
Mhm.
And so that kind of sparked it because I had to prep for that open house. I didn't know anything about the building. So I thought, okay, I don't know, 2 weeks maybe, a new agent. And I thought, I'm petrified. So I did all my research, front loaded as much as I could,
Huh?
got out there early, looked at everything. And so that building had, like, we even drive by it now, and my kids will go cha-ching, cha-ching, because they know eventually I'm going to make money out of that building. So
Nice.
fast forward, I had someone at the open house that wanted a 2 bedroom. So I started cold calling all the owners in the building. Now there's a longtime realtor who lives in that building.
Interesting.
Um, so there were some people that were like, so and so lives here. I'm like, yeah, so, like, so we just kind of kept going. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard such great things about her. And I would just kind of keep going because if they're not working with her and they're just sharing information with me, I'm not going to take that as a no straight away. So I just keep going. So then I have dirt on that HOA like crazy. People tell you all sorts of things. So I have these relationships with these people. And now starting, I want to say somewhere over the summer, maybe late June, early July, I ended up connecting with this girl who inherited the place from her grandmother, and we started talking, and she's going to be coming on as a listing here. So she has done some renovations in her place. And so from that cold call will be this listing. And, you know, and then she's been referring her friends in Denver saying, hey, if you ever want anything, this is who you have to talk to. So that was a long process, but it started with doing an open house for someone that introduced me to this building. And then it just started with cold calling all of these people. So anytime anything happens in that building, I'm on the phone with these owners that I have now come to know, you know. So, and sometimes it was funny because there was some time I was super busy and it took me a day or two to call, and they actually started calling me. Hey, did you see? Did you see? He's selling that, you know, and it was just super funny. So that has been a good thing. And then I actually just closed 2 deals in the last 2 weeks from another cold call. So it works. You just have to stay consistent, because the first time I called that particular owner was February, and we closed 2 properties in December. So it was a long road, and it was a lot of conversations and follow up, and sometimes what we would consider meaningless conversations, but they were just check-ins and saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. And it worked, though. That relationship started to build, and he has been in the Valley since 1989, I think, or 1990. So, and he told me at the time, one of our conversations, he told me that he has so many friends who are brokers in the Valley. And at one point I was like, well, you know, he goes, I don't know, like, you know, I know all these people, but if I pick one, then the other one's going to be mad. And, you know, they haven't been like asking me anything. And so he's like, you asked. And I said, yeah. I said, so if you pick me, you can make them all mad equally. Like they can, because you chose someone you didn't know, like you went outside your circle. Right. And you went with me. And so he's like, yeah, you know, so he did, and 2 deals later. So just because you're new, and just because people have been in the Valley forever and know 5 realtors and so on and so on and so on, it doesn't mean they won't do business with you, but you have to ask for the business. So cold calling is asking for it.
It's a lovely story, because I think there is that feeling that I'm new, right? I come on board and I'm trying to figure it out, and everybody tells me I need to make my calls and I need to be consistent. And I think what you kind of networked a little bit with someone in your office, then you kind of connected, you took the leap of faith that was going to make a difference, right? I love the way you said you collected information, like that must have come from the people that you spoke to, or the more research that you did on the building, you know, how, you know, what is that building? How long has it been there? Did things in the building sell? Like the more information that you fill your bucket with, the more you're prepared to have further conversations. So, I mean, I think in the end, you're right. And to take a business away from someone who has had a realtor friend since 87, right? That's huge, to be able to say, well, I do matter because I did make a difference in building that story with them. So kudos to you for owning the building. That's exciting.
Well, I don't know, but that's only one building, one deal. So I don't want to overstep. Like I'm not owning it yet, but I will.
But you're working on it.
Yeah, I have a goal. Like I'm just not going to back away from the goal. And I think sometimes we get impatient as salespeople, as people. We want everything now, and we just have to know that it's a process. And I feel like as long as I'm faithful to the process, the results will come. So if I just every day put one foot in front of the other, and I do what I need to do, and I do it to the best of my ability, and when I don't know something, I think it's super important for people, regardless of who you are, to always have a mentor. And so if Jen's on this call, she probably is. Thank you, Jen, because without Jen, I would be floundering like I felt like I was in the beginning of the year. Jen Colson has been that mentor to me. She picks up the phone when it's probably really inconvenient for her to do that. And she gives of herself and her time and her energy and her knowledge, most of all. And so I would say to anyone, regardless, find someone who can build you up and encourage you, speak into your life and help grow you as a person and a broker and whatever your stage of life might be. So, and, you know, find your tribe. I mean, I started with Sarah Hudikoff and Leslie Norton in Vail too. So my little tribe is those women, you know, so, and Kira coming on, she's always one too, to pick up the phone. And if, you know, she's like, hey, blah, 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 and she's there. So I think you need to find your people. regardless of who you connect with. So the first guru that I had was not a connection, for me, like it just was not a match.
Mhm.
But then Jen became my guru, and that was like all of a sudden, like things connected for me, like the way that she explained things, the way she spoke to me. So I think you have to be an advocate for yourself too.
Mhm.
And just because, I know if we have kids, we're teaching our kids to
Mhm.
ask for help, to, self-advocate, do these different things. And we have to take that same advice,
Mhm.
especially if we're walking into something new and there's that learning curve. So don't be too proud to ask for help. I've been successful in other things and kind of gotten to the top of the heap there. And sometimes I think, well, I can do this. And I think, why am I going to reinvent the wheel when I have someone who's willing to help me and they're at the touch of my phone,
Right.
So I would say reach out when you need some help and you're not sure which action, and even evaluating mistakes that I've made. If I didn't get a listing, or if I didn't get this or had a question, I can come back and think about it again, backpedal a little and say, I think I went sideways somewhere here. How could I have said that better?
Mhm.
And sometimes Jen will be giving me advice and it's just totally quiet and I'm writing notes, like her verbiage is like awesome. So I just need to tweak it for me. And sometimes Jen will even say, oh, call Karen on that. So then I call Karen, so sometimes one person can't be your everything, but if you have some people that are your people, you'll get answers and you'll grow. And then you can do that for someone else.
Oh, it sounds lovely. I mean, you sound like you're super open to the learning piece, which I think is great. You're willing to try things. You're willing to network both with clients and internally. It sounds like, I mean, I think 22 for you is an opportunity for you to build more of your business. It just sounds really, really, really productive.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And thank you for coming on. I'm sure someone will pick up some tips from your suggestions. And if you want to talk to Kristie Long, she's available in the roster in CBIQ under Vail. You'll find her, and I'm sure she's willing to share some of her mojo with you if you have any questions.
Absolutely.
But super thank you for coming and joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day.